We're live. Good evening, everybody. Um, Tonight is a very, very nice night. As you see my Jason shirt here, just going to be discussing the Friday the 13th movies here and there. Watching Friday the 13th 1 again. Was trying to do a marathon a couple weeks ago, and figure I might as well do a marathon tonight over the next couple days. Don't really have too much planned. Got a lot of money coming in, and figure just see some of my impressions about the series. I don't think I'll live stream each movie, but I'll definitely take in each movie since I have it in order. The reason I'm doing this is because I can't find my Child's Play 2 DVD, and I'd like to just watch 1, 2, and 3 of that series since I'm watching the Sausage Factory discussion and basically triggered a immense interest to watch 1, 2, and 3, even though I've frequently watched them. And I do believe I own Child's Play 2, but hey, maybe I don't. So I'm going to have to purchase it again. I know that I have had the DVD in some form at some point, and also when I had cable, I would watch that, um, or satellite, whatever it's called. I will lower the TV a little bit here. About to watch the part where, excuse me, these aren't really commentaries, but I'm watching right now. You're not supposed to be watching along with me. I'm just watching in the background, and it's the quote unquote first kill of the movie, but the first two people killed are, of course, the teenagers at the beginning. But this is the teen or college student going to quote unquote cook in the kitchen. So it brings us to our first question. This is Paul from Eureka, California. That's the same Paul that I'm thinking of. Correspond through email sometimes. We actually went to high school together, so thanks so much. Grew up on the same street together. So as a huge fan of the series as well. What are your favorite things about the Friday the 13th series? Well, it's very simple. The appropriation of tasks. I mean, obviously, Jason has the task of killing people and hunting and killing them. But I really like in what I was just watching before I started the live stream was the very beginning of Child's Play 1 was, you know, those children, the very beginning, were um, supposed to watch him, but there was also some people that were out supposed to be doing other things. There's always appropriation of tasks in these horror movies. When they were doing the musical River of Jordan is deep and wide, hallelujah, yeah, that scene before they go upstairs and start making out and then are killed. That is, you know, an assigned thing that they're doing, the appropriation of entertaining for music and all that. Just as when they start trying to prepare the camp in part one and part two and in other parts back for business, I'm always fascinated by who's doing what. Like here, they're laying around here in this scene out in the beach, but clearly they have to, prepare the bunks. They have to prepare. So that always fascinates me about these movies. And um, there's nothing. I mean, you can say in Nightmare on Elm Street, they're all in high school, so they're all doing tasks, but it's just not the same. I like the commonality of their what they're experiencing and what they have to do, what their tasks and jobs are, etc. I feel that it's very powerful cinema to see camp life portrayed on screen. And it doesn't even have to be camp life. It could be, worker bees out in the middle of this colony or whatever. I don't even know. But like there's something about the dynamic, obviously about the camp and them having to work and prepare to get the camp open. And that Jason is actually trying to work for the opposite goals almost. It's never that simple, but I do like that dynamic that's at play. Um, I mean, obviously, there's this scene here where this guy's faking out that he's dying in the lake, So that sets the precedent of having a Shelley-like character in every movie. You got this goofball in this movie. He dresses in the Native American outfit, I believe, a little bit later. So he's like the Shelley of this movie. And then part two kind of breaks the mold a little bit. And three, of course, goes full Shelley mode, and that's how he gets the hockey mask, obviously. Part four clearly has a Shelley type character in that. What would you call that guy? The guy that ends up perving out on the old school horror porn uh, movie and then gets stabbed through the screen. That guy's kind of the Shelley type character in part four. The Shelley type character in part five. I mean, there really isn't one. The guy that's butchered with the axe ends up being involved with in the Corey Haim situation. Interestingly enough, in real life, it's adds some weird undercurrent and backstory gravitas to the Corey Haim allegations and that character in particular in that movie and him as an actor, etc. Dominic Brascia, never met him, don't know him. What he alleges went on with Corey Haim is quite bizarre, and I guess obviously no one wanted to speak about it when Corey Haim was living. Probably because Corey didn't want to talk about it, etc. One would presume, one doesn't know all this though. I'll just say it was quite odd because when you literally watch him in these movies, Dominic Brascia, which I've seen him pop up in some other films in the 80s and etc. His role in 1985's or when in the fifth Friday the 13th film is pretty legendary actually. Carrying around a candy bar, trying to help with the laundry, getting excused by Tiffany Helm and Deborah Voorhees, etc., and then launching his ass over to the log chopper dude. That log chopper dude's a pretty Mark Venturini, a pretty legendary horror actor in his own right, chops that fucker's head off. So of course, I'm going on with that part, but you do have some other Shelley type dynamic with Reggie Reckless, and you know when I say practical joking type mentality, and Deborah Voorhees' characters is a little bit goofy as well, and the whole dynamic of them, being in love so much and running off. The whole Friday 13th 5 breaks the whole rule that everyone has a Shelley character, because you think about Junior and Ma and the dynamic of them and Ethel, his Ma Ethel, Junior and Ethel. I mean, they're about as Shelley divided by Shelley times and divided by the inbred cousins of Shelley. And when I say Shelley, I mean I'm friendly. I've had really long conversations with Larry Zerner, the attorney. He plays Shelley. All I mean is this um, goofball element of a character that it's in almost every Friday the 13th movie. For example, in Jason X, um, the guy that loses both arms, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I can't even get into what happens in Jason X. It's just so stupid a name. But there is kind of a practical joker type guy, or guy that's not taken as seriously as the rest. Who's that guy in part 8? Well, in part 7, it's clearly the guy that talks about some crazy horror movie in the future. He's like, oh, picture this. The year 66th century, whatever. He talks to Laura Park Lincoln, and she's like, oh, this dude baked out on something or something. I love that part. In part 6, the dynamic is, again, a little bit different. So the dynamic is a little bit different in part 6. It's Tom Fridley, I guess you would say, is kind of the Shelley type character. Not really. There really isn't unless I'm overlooking someone. Some of the sheriff's goofball dynamics and his underlings, I guess, really isn't like a particular Shelley element in part 6. Obviously, in part 7, we've already identified him. Part 8, the Shelley dynamic there. In part 8, Jason takes Manhattan. There really isn't one I get. Oh, I would say it's the guy played by Martin Cummins, the one that helps out with the music video with JJ, and then when things don't go well, um, with him filming that experiment, science experiment deal, he gets killed later. I would say he's kind of the Shelley element there. Light touches of Shelley. Light touches of Shelley. Having an emergency, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. I'm having an emergency, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. Thank you. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. When I said that was an emergency, I'm not exaggerating. That was at a certain point. I'm gonna go dark here because it's I don't like having all this power on, so to speak. But hey, dog, how are you? Go on the couch. Go up on the couch. Hold on a second. All right, we're back. So in this movie, you have the son of Bing Crosby in it as well. So anyway, hold on a second, please. All right, folks, we're just gonna do things like that. I've seen Rambo Rap do some of these kind of videos where just your face is showing, but I may end up just sitting it down in a little while because the glare is a little bit much. As it is right now, kind of looks like a Blue Man Group or Max Headroom or something like that. So I just have this silhouette. I really do appreciate that question, Paul, from Eureka, California. Um, yeah, I guess the camaraderie of them being in a camp, working towards a common goal. When that's missing in the films, I like the bonding over the senior class trip and the identity of them being on a cruise ship, uh, and that they grew up in the Crystal Lake community, kind of having an idyllic experience in Jason Takes Manhattan that they didn't and don't expect or know much about Jason, and that's why things coming to life and following them on a cruise ship is as surprising as it is to them. It's a little bit hard to believe that they wouldn't know about that, but it does take place. I'm seeing some of the YouTube videos going over it on a specific timeline where even though that movie was released in 1989, it actually takes place roughly between 98 and 99. So that's very interesting within the Friday the 13th series. If you do the math on certain regards, it is a little bit interesting, to say the least. Some of my favorite kills of the series are in that. It's very sad for the who's the chap? I've spoken to him too. I don't even figure out his name. It's the three person name. Oh, Lauren. Hey, Lauren's here. The timeline doesn't work. Renee's flashback cannot take place in the existing timeline. Renee. Who's Renee? Okay, so there's JJ in the movie. Are you talking about, is Renee a character in part 8? Renee. Is Renee. I have a friend named Renee, so that's confusing. Renee's flashback cannot take place in the existing timeline. Oh, it's great to be joined by Visiting by Voices. This is a member of the Sausage Factory. Of course, we've had Orc on the channel in the past. And here we are visited by Voices. Lauren. Renee. Rennie. Oh, Rennie. Yeah, Rennie. Yeah, duh. Okay, her flashback cannot take place in the existing. I don't recall her flashback. Let me think for a minute. Okay, the movie starts with that weirdo. Okay, I know the lady from the beginning of the movie. She's on the cruise ship. Like, I know her personally. Or she's not on a cruise ship. She's on a boat, getting it on with her love interest, and that love interest looks like all weird. He's like, "Oh, don't you know about the legend of the lake?" And they all are naive. Uncle almost drowns her in Crystal Lake. God, I can't recall that. Yeah, that's really weird. I can't remember that scene. Maybe it's a deleted scene or something like that? Because in my mind, the movie starts with the spoken word poem, uh, a great song. You can show in the edge of the night, or however it goes. I just love that song. Um, Her flashback. Yeah, okay, now I'm kind of remember maybe in the middle portion of the movie. I just like the pace and the tempo of the movie quite a lot. The flashback happens immediately after she crashes the cop car in the alley. Flashback. Oh, you're talking about when she gets to Manhattan. Okay, yeah. That's what I would assume. Yeah, because I don't remember any other cop car situation. Okay, so it's telling them basically the last 25, 30 minutes of the movie. Because my favorite parts of the movie are all on the boat, and I kind of just always think of it as that. And that's what the movie gets a bad rap, of course, having a Jason Takes Manhattan title. I would love to see him killing a bunch of, 80s and 90s cliche yuppies and, you know, construction type people in Manhattan. I mean, maybe even whatever. Just a preacher, people of very different styles of life, a diner waitress. Now, I do know a friend of mine who lives in Vancouver, and he knows that particular diner that they show at the cut scenes at the end of Jason Takes Manhattan. But anyway, I want to properly greet Lauren. Going on and on about Jason Takes Manhattan. This is one of my favorite movies. I don't know if anyone else likes it, but I wanted him to tour Times Square. Oh, that would have been pretty interesting. Yeah, I was thinking that, or he goes into like St. Patrick's Cathedral and slices a priest's head off, or you know, people would have gone up in arms about that, of course. But going through some grindhouses would have been pretty classic as well. Anyway, yeah, welcome Lauren to the channel. This is on whatever this is, YouTube stream. Pretty much a dumbass, didn't know how to YouTube stream until a couple weeks ago. So, but I still don't know how to do Google Hangout. So otherwise, we'd be able to talk interface on there, how the Google Hangout works, and Orcs explained it to me and everything. But so far, it's just been videos where I see people's comments pop up. So anyway, yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of Children of the Corn, Part 3, some of the other parts of the series. I think they're very fun movies, but also I do think that the villain in Part 3, the boy knows, I've gotten in touch with Daniel Cherney. I don't know how he actually says it now. I've seen it written both ways. I think he does a very effective job, more than quote unquote Malachi or any other the young chaps in the Children of the Corn films. I think he's definitely my favorite Children of the Corn villain. That's kind of why I like the series. Is like, obviously they brought back the other chap at one point, the guy that maybe has uh, oh gosh, he's the chap in the first movie. He's now part of the Children of the Corn movies again. And I'm all for that, but I don't ever really think people should front on some of the other chaps that were in the Children of the Corn films. I feel that they did an effective job. I really just saw Night of the Living Dead, the Tom Savini remake. First time I've ever seen it like straight through. I definitely remember the redhead in it, and remember like the great turn that she did. I've never seen any of the. Oh, cool. Well, me neither, man. I never had seen them until I just bought a DVD with them and had everything 2 through 7, I believe. I think there's up to 8 now, so I haven't seen part 8. I don't believe. But yeah, I'd really like to see what you feel they do with part 2. Because in my opinion, dear friend, is Children of the Corn 1 takes so long to get into it. You got Linda Hamilton and Peter Horton basically acting pretty annoying, but having their own like romantic comedy. I don't really know what's going on for the first 34 minutes. I was counting it the other night. Whereas you got Children of the Corn 2, and this one actually was released in theaters. I remember a bunch of us went in 6th grade and went and seen it, or saw it. And this was Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice, which would imply the series would end. But obviously, they waited 8 years to make it. I believe it was Dimension, and they always throw it down with a really hot chick. I mean, Children of the Corn 2 throws it down with a pretty hot chick. 3 is a little reticent of she's semi hot. She's not as hot, but like we'll get to 3 in a minute. Children of the Corn 2, without revealing too much, it's got a lot more action than Children of the Corn 1. You don't have a diner or slaughterhouse scene or whatever, where everyone gets slaughtered, like, in the Beyonce music video Telephone. I'm pretty sure that's where she got that from. Children of the Corn 1, she rips off in that music video with her and Lady Gaga. At least I'd like to ask her that. I don't know if that's true or not, but that Children of the Corn 1 scene, no fronting, is one of the best horror scenes that there is. So yeah, the villain in Children of the Corn 2, pretty damn good job. But what I really like about Children of the Corn 2 is, I believe it's filmed in North Carolina, so obviously it doesn't match up. All these movies are filmed different places. Most of the Friday the 13th are filmed different places. Been trying to make a YouTube map, a YouTube video where I just go over all the locations from the series I've visited. I'm not really wanting to taking all these detailed photographs and videos and being a burden to the people around me and spatial considerations and things like that. So I've never really gone off and done. I mean, I've taken my fair share of stuff, but I've never been like, "Oh, here we are," talking all loudly and being garish, I guess you would say. I am garish in other walks of life, though, for sure. So, yeah, Children of the Corn 2 starts expanding on, the ethnic heritage, maybe like a native ancestry of the Children of the Corn curse, or you gotta see too. Basically, it's like they're marking different people's houses with this bizarre powder. I don't know. The original short story was one. Oh yeah, yeah. See, I really like that they've gotten very far away from Stephen King. I love Stephen King for a variety of regards, but um, you know, very cool that they made Children of the Corn. I'm sure part one was the loyal. More. Let me see your comment exactly. Sure, was this one part of Lovecraft? Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Stephen King would. That's like what's Jerusalem's Lot, which I live. That's so cool, man. I didn't really know any of this. Um, I've seen the Toby Hooper Salem's Lot. Oh, and a little bit of backstory about me. I became kind of friends with some filmmakers the last several years. Uh, Toby Hooper's no longer with us, but I knew him uh, basically over the phone. Talked to him maybe 18 hours or so. Talked to Paul Maslansky, the producer of Police Academy, almost daily. But he's kind of losing his mind. He's 85 years old. Harold Becker, a great, awesome filmmaker. He's like we're 91. He's actually still represented by CAA, I believe. No, excuse me, William Morris. But they're not doing a good job representing him actually, because he still wants to work. Richard Rush, filmmaker of The Stuntman. Uh, Also the Bruce Willis kind of controversial movie. I get them confused, but Color of Night, which I mean I do happen to like now. But I think kind of my personal friendship with him, or with even Bob Raffleson as well. Uh, Bob Raffleson's made some pretty bad movies. You'd be the first to admit it. But yeah, well, I really hope to talk to Robert Evans. I don't know how healthy he is, but these people really are out there and they have a lot of wisdom and stuff like that. And I like the writer. I like writers in general, and I like the art that they do as writers and everything like that. And when everything is able to be adapted just perfectly as written as a book to a movie, I like that. I like that a lot. But I like when things are changed as well. Um, Changed for the purpose of a movie. I really do. And in that regard, I think it's really what would you say, like really good fertile ground for a movie where you just make about how Stephen King and Stanley Kubrick didn't get along while the making of The Shining. And clearly I understand what Stephen King's issues were, but it's basically like having Michael Jordan on your team and trying to micromanage him. It's like obviously Stephen King wrote a great book, The Shining. He had a lot of other hit books around the time, but that was even a bigger hit and even a more demand for being a movie than anything else. Clearly, because the other ones landed a lot of them on TV or didn't get developed till the 90s when there was just, a lot of Stephen King TV movies being made, 80s and 90s. Movies as well. But Stephen King's adaptation, or, Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of Stephen King's The Shining, um, let's just be honest. The Shining is a good book, great book, whatever you want to call it. Very influential book, very popular horror, book. It's not the Bible. And even the Bible gets shit. I mean, I don't really want to get into religion, but who cares? It's like it's not some sacrosanct text that uh, shouldn't be violated and stuff like that. And like when people say that the Children of Corn movies have gone so far away from the great origin of what they were or whatever, that's pretty comical to me, because it's like, first of all, movies are supposed to take things off anywhere. And if someone actually does want to endure the Children of the Corn movies, which some of them are endurance, um, parts of even ones I like are endurance tests. I mean, you have to pretend that they're taking place in Chicago at times in part three, when clearly you see palm trees and not every shot, but they're there. You just have to willfully disengage with that. But anyway, like, my main point is that Stephen King, as great of a writer as he is, him being directly involved in the movies that he's been directly involved with, I don't really gel with. Like The Shining, I'm a huge fan of both of those actors, and I find it to be like a pathetic attempt. Like, oh, hey, Michael Jordan, you made a good movie, or you won a couple championships. I'm gonna try to win a championship too, and it's the equivalent of LeBron on the Lakers in his first year. So for real, like a total tank. Um, so I mean, some of the movies like It, 20, the second half of Deconstruct. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I see your point, like criticizing its source. Yeah, I mean, it's criticizing its source, but it's like it's making an entertaining movie that for people that had nothing to do with the book, or maybe read the book once and didn't really get the book or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not. Though he's a very erudite filmmaker, um, it was his most crass attempt at a commercial horror entertainment movie. It really was. The Shining, it was his response to Barry Lyndon and his Napoleon biopic not coming through. So yeah, I love the movie. I mean, I'm glad everyone. I mean, would love to talk to you about Doctor Sleep. Like, have you read Doctor Sleep, or have you listened to the audiobook? I've done both. I listened to the audiobook first, and wow, that's some very intense shit. I don't even know why the movie media is not picking up on, like, what the movie is going to be rated. Like, how is the movie not going to be rated anything more? I mean, if they're adapting it properly, they're going to have to cut the fuck out of it. Like, it's going to be like not even NC-17, like beyond NC-17. What they're referring to and talking about in it is really dark and malevolent, and possibly based on real stuff, which is, you know, yeah, there's your comment there. They're criticizing the source. I pretty much stopped reading King in the mid-90s. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Listen to I mean, if you want, the audiobook's available on YouTube. It's 14 hours, but just get a flavor of it. Like, you don't have to listen to the whole thing. Just, whoa. I mean, I'll just give you maybe a 45-second divulgence of it. It's about, obviously, the boy from The Shining and his mother, and they're just freaking alcoholics now, and they're living in Florida, and they're hanging out with the old black dude because the old black dude's like on bad health, and somehow I think they have some money from the whole Shining debacle that went down. Like, they got a settlement, which is pretty bizarre. So everything's all like 30 years later, and they start hanging around with Dickie Halloran a lot more, the old black dude. And the old black dude starts talking about, oh yeah, we share The Shining. Now let me tell you how The Shining starts. And it's like basically him flashing back to where he's being like raped regularly by his uncle, and his uncle is a serial rapist of people that have The Shining. So that there's this whole network of people that are raping children and chasing them around, and uh, native cults and sacrifice and eating people. Um, yeah, I mean, I I know he based it on something, because I swear I've seen this documentary once about, people that go missing and children that go missing, and it mentions stuff like that. And whew. Anyway, I don't know how they're making it. I mean, I really don't. I know Ewan McGregor is playing Danny grown up, and beyond that, I'm gonna have to plug in my phone real quick here. It's gonna be a dark display for a minute or two. I'm watching as I was saying earlier, when me Lauren. And if I miss a comment or two of yours, I'm gonna, or I'll need to put the live chat back on here. Let's put this button. Okay, so Hollywood, yeah. I'm watching Friday the 13th 1. We're gonna put the Sean Cunningham commentary on. But yeah, so Lauren, I've been planning, you know, depends about how money goes and everything like that. But a pretty cool Friday the 13th based festival. I've been given permission by Sean Cunningham, and oh man, holding up how they all resolve things. I'm Miller. I probably should have mentioned that early on. So I don't really side with anyone in this whole matter. I think they should all just resolve their differences and all. But they've both, given me permission to call it the Camp Crystal Lake Festival. I didn't necessarily need it. And I've invited all sorts of people from the series to participate, and so I'm quite excited about it. Just a matter of when I can just, I don't know, select from one of the 6 camps that I've visited, and it will all be set at a campground. Obviously, you've been to some horror conventions. I have as well. It will be like a convention, but there will be in the dining hall, some of the signings there, some other more fan-oriented events or demonstrations about things from the series. Some games, like Shelly will be there doing the wallet toss, from part 3. So hopefully it'll be a fun and good experience for everyone, and been planning it for quite a while now. So anyway, don't know exactly when that will be, but that's going to be something that I hope can continue, with my participation and everyone else's participation through the years. So I would like to invite you and everyone else from the Sausage Factory to be part of a Friday the 13th panel. And some of the other, greats from the Sausage Factory. I was watching earlier an old Sausage Factory episode from the mid 2000s or 2010s. It was quite interesting seeing the changes in the panel and everything like that. When did you start watching the Sausage Factory? Oh yeah, it will be lots of fun. Because what's so cool about it, Lauren, is I literally am, pretty good friends with Victor Miller. Like, I'm a writer as well, so I share very major fellowship with what he has written. I'm a huge fan of All My Children, like the soap opera that he wrote for. Huge fan of the Friday the 13th movies, and there wouldn't be any of the movies without, obviously the first one. And I like some of the other stuff that he's written through the years that he's, shared with me, and also some other stuff that's, been made. None of it's groundbreaking or anything like that, let's be honest, but um, he's a really cool guy, and it's too bad that things are the way they are between Mr. Cunningham and him. I've stuck up with a friendship with Mr. Cunningham recently as well. So that's great. Jason Parker, the master of the Friday, which I write for, pointed me to the show. Oh, that's so cool. Nice, man. Yeah, I never really seen much horror movies growing up. Always was fascinated by them. Played in a couple, short horror films and things like that as an actor, and obviously I've always played a villain in a lot of I've worked in TV and news, but not actually doing like mainstream stuff. I basically create my own stories and act them out on the news and on syndicated shows and all that. And then what I have happened to do is do a lot of theater where I've played either a villain or short films or even some independent films. But none of them are even, my very, very much mainstream. I did have a role as a bank robber in a Milo Ventimiglia movie not too far back away from now, and also played a like a corrupt cop on a TV show on it. So that was pretty cool. But as far as the actors and the people from Sean Cunningham that I've gotten to know, to Kane Hodder that I met, and getting to know Kane Hodder more through email and stuff, and CJ Graham, through email. I have an interview with CJ Graham that I've been waiting to cut or figure out how to upload, I guess is the right word. Uh, Miller's novel Children is kind of a fascinating mess. I mean, you could really understand how writers amass volumes, I guess, for lack of a better word. Lauren, and you're a writer as well. It's just, I think it's from, I've talked to him about this, from working in the world of soap operas for as long as he has. All of his other works are kind of like, they're great and everything like that, but you could point out flaws in them, and just as you can in every arc of the soap opera. But the only thing you can say about a soap opera is you got so much time, and there's such compelling arcs that these are created over time. Like, it's crazy. I've literally talked to Victor Miller for hours. I don't even keep track of the hours anymore, about the soap opera work that he did and how he was able to kind of, because it's the very essence of programming, which I, if given, a million destiny chances or whatever, I'd love to be a programmer of various channels, like without all the sex acts, less Moondust or something like that. So it's a fascinating deal to see how the programming decisions would come from above, and he would then put them into the soap opera and all that. Because, I mean, he brought in a lot of horror and weird elements to some soap opera stories. And I'd asked him, I went through a checklist once of just different events in the All My Children timeline. And I was like, okay, was this you? Was this Agnes, one of the other writers, or two of the three other writers? So I have a whole chart. So for anyone that's super interested in that TV show or that rabbit hole, or even elements of the Friday the 13th movies, because honestly, there is a little bit of an overlap in the. It's kind of funny, but I could point it out to someone that really kind of knows the show. But there's some overlap between Camp Crystal Lake and Pine Valley at times, because Victor Miller was just kind of like throwing it in there. So anyway, I really much I was jumping around a little bit. I know I was talking about Night of the Living Dead remake earlier. What are your thoughts on that one, Lauren? Did you enjoy the Night of the Living Dead 1990 remake? I'm all for business and commerce, so I mean, I know they had to do it, or they say they had to do it for business reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like to make more money, because their copyright shit was all fucked up. Miller's novel Hide the Children It was kind of a fascinating mess. You can definitely see elements of Friday. Yeah, see, that's what you're saying, man. Friday bleeding into the narrative, but it's really just exploitation lit. Yeah, got interesting take there on that. I think that he is he wrote a screenplay for Jury Duty. Um, and the other version of it that it didn't end up getting made was better. So a lot of things end up getting changed sometimes. But congratulations, we got Lauren on here. He's actually an author himself, and it'd be really cool if I could just I guess I could send you a PayPal to buy one of your books or buy it online or whatever. I shut down my Amazon recently. But yeah, I'd like to get one signed or something. That'd be really cool. I'll send you something. I have a lot of well, I did all this different TV work, so I'm getting different emails and emails mainly, but fan mail also from different people that saw some of the shows. Because basically, I would just devise a story for a show, call the show, make the show believe the story was real, work with my friends or find actors or whoever to play the roles, make it seem real, go film it, make it seem real, get paid, and then build up people that somewhat start knowing what's going on, people that got wise to what I was doing. So I kind of definitely developed a cult following from it, and now I live in relative anonymity, enjoying some of the I guess you say perks of doing what I have done, and I've done some things that are a little more mainstream as well. Uh, yeah, it is a very it's a high bar to live up to be better than the original. Because obviously the first time I saw Night of the Living Dead was a pretty cool experience. The zombies just keep on coming and all that. Um, Something really appealing about the color aspect when I was watching it that I'm like, whoa, it's just I don't gotta uh, strain myself or anything. I can just watch it. I mean, I love black and white movies as much as anyone. Um, but I mean, obviously they could have chosen to make it in black and white. I still would have watched it. I just don't think it would have worked as well. It would have come off too much like they're ripping it off. I thought the color brought a new element to it. I really like to see the intensity in the faces of Tony Todd and that fat dude when they start fighting. And what I like about it is that you're basically you're siding with Tony Todd or siding with the black from the first, and whatever remake we want to talk about. And you're siding with them, you're siding with them, you're siding with them. Then all of a sudden he goes too far, and you're like, oh man, you done fucked up. Now you pushed it too far, and that's what I like about the movie a lot. I think it's kind of an unspoken change that happens. My novel, send me a email, work it. We'll work it out. Okay, cool, nice, dude. Visited. I can probably remember that. Visited by voices at gmail.com. I may say, yeah, it's such great to have Lauren participating here and being a part of the channel. And we have 10 subscribers now. We were celebrating the other day, me and my dog, and we are just having the greatest time. As far as other genres of movies, have you seen a movie from the 70s called Rolling Thunder? I'm doing a video interview with Linda Haynes sometime in the next couple months. And she's the woman that's in that. And it's a really intense movie starring William Devane and Tommy Lee Jones. And, you're talking about blind spot earlier. I had a total blind spot for that movie for years. I never even really realized it from Blue Thunder titles kind of confuse me sometimes. So, I mean, I would say like, oh, someone's telling me Rolling Thunder has William Devane in it. I'd be like, oh no, it doesn't. It had Roy Scheider in it. It's about a helicopter. I wouldn't say that, but that's what I'd be thinking for a minute. But clearly, Rolling Thunder is a different movie, and I highly recommend it. It's a Blu-ray. Wouldn't mind someone checking out the Blu-ray. Let me know what they think of it. It's definitely a very intense movie. Oh, and Lauren, I'm sure you're kind of into some horror movies. Do you like some shot-on-video horror movies from the '80s? I'm very much into the shot-on-video horror movies of the '80s. Sledgehammer, um, Murder Lust. I don't know if Murder Lust was shot on video, but I really like those kind of movies. I really like Remote Control. I'm friends with the filmmaker of that. I mean, really can't wait to get. I'm saving some money to get Blu-ray. I think there's a Blu-ray for Remote Control. I really like that old television program too, Remote Control as well. But anyway, really excited for that, and a couple other Blu-rays that I've been looking forward to getting. Because there's a lot of really good shot-on-video and low-budget horror movies of the '80s that still get kind of underappreciated. One of my favorite ones, absolute favorite ones, is called Tales from the Quaded Zone. Have you seen it? The filmmaker is turning into kind of a pariah, or it's harder to contact him lately. Oh, I saw Rolling Thunder on a double feature in Philadelphia with the Sorcerer. Whoa! What an incredible double feature, man. I just did a commentary for To Live and Die in LA yesterday. I believe yesterday or maybe the day before. And that was a pretty fun experience. I actually cut the commentary off with like 10 minutes to go so people could just watch it on their own and enjoy it. It was a long night, but loved them both. Yeah. Sorcerer, I really wish I would have seen on the big screen. I know it got overshadowed and didn't get as many screens, actually. So it's cool that you went and saw it. I think you said on a drive-in. Yeah, because I'm making a horror movie at a drive-in on a double feature. Oh, no, not a drive-in. Okay, cool. Well, there's a drive-in out here. I'm making one. When I think of double features, that's what I usually think of. But yeah, there's double features back in the day at normal theaters too. Oh wow, that sounds so awesome. Sorcerer on the big screen. So amateur ranking here of William Friedkin's movies. I mean, I like The Sorcerer quite a lot, but I've really become a huge fan of Blue Chips, the basketball movie. I saw it in 1994 when it came out, and liked it. Right, I didn't dislike it, but it hasn't bowled over by it. But I feel that 25 years later, it's basically a classic movie, a really really good movie that has gone overlooked. I know some of the people that were involved in the making of it. I would love to do some special features for it. I don't know if there's a market for it, but clearly Shaq was in it, and this and that and that. But if you think about it, I mean, he made such diverse movies. We're talking about Sorcerer now. I mean, obviously Exorcist, French Connection. Those three are very, very different films. And then, you got the Michael Biehn movie Rampage. I think it's called Rampage. Yeah, the 1989 movie he made called Rampage. That one, really fell on hard times and barely ever got released. And I think I've said this the other day. I've seen the movie. I don't ever really want to see it again, but it was a very effective movie. He made William Friedkin made a documentary early on in his career that helped free someone from jail. So Lauren, I think this would be a good movie or something. But I mean, I don't know what people write or what you write or anything. I've thought about writing this as a movie. He made a documentary that accidentally, or on purpose, I guess, freed someone from jail. And then it turned out that that person actually did do the crime. So that's basically how William Friedkin's career got started, at least from his point of view. I don't know. It doesn't. I'm not trying to judge his credibility or anything, but that's what he says. And then he made The Exorcist, soon after all that, and obviously what French Connection, in that era, and To Live and Die in L.A., which did the commentary for. The Hunted, very underrated movie, far far from perfect though, far from perfect. And I'm very disappointed that he hasn't made one in the last several years. He's become somewhat active on Twitter, and I very much looking forward to him making another film. I think I mentioned this in my To Live and Die in LA commentary. Were you aware of this, Lauren? That a couple years back they announced they're going to make a To Live and Die in LA TV show. And if so, I mean, where's the update on that? I mean, I was involved in the reporting of that back in the day, like 2014. He made a bad documentary about an exorcism last year. Oh wow. Well, I mean, back in the day, Lauren, he was married to Kelly Lang, and Kelly Lang was a very famous newscaster. Yeah, cash grab for that documentary. Well, that's too bad. I mean, he's had some very controversial views on religion too, and I've seen him. And it's not like I care really one way or the other. I just find it to be quite odd, based on what his faith of birth was and everything like that. He's got some very strange things to say, and I was wondering if he had never made The Exorcist, if he'd never gone on that kind of journey. But he went to some really cool places in his life. I mean, he went to Iraq. Uh, the Guardian is not a good film, but yeah, of course, yeah, I forgot to mention that one. He goes to Iraq in like the early '70s to go film the beginning of The Exorcist. So he definitely went on like a major religious journey in his life. Um, so it's interesting to see his comments. Um, yeah, some other special features and things I'd like to work on more. And Paul Maslansky's slowly trying to introduce me or get me in touch with some of the people from the Police Academy films, is to do like a sort of like Crystal Lake Memories by Peter Bracke, but all about the Police Academy movies. And obviously, with comedy and all that, there's not usually a huge market, but having talked to Paul Maslansky for the better part of the last 3 years and spending so much time with him and things like that, it's just, I don't know. The guy's a living legend. He was one of the first people to make movies in Russia to break the Iron Curtain. He was filming major war movements going on, and the fall of various empires and the rise of Israel. And he's just a total legend. He produced Return to Oz, which is basically a horror movie for children. I mean, I have Return to Oz here. I don't know why I haven't watched it too recently or watched it, but I totally can. It's the honor and the privilege of owning DVDs. So, Lauren, I wanted to mention some of the stuff that Piz has been saying about how, or everyone's been saying, how Blu-rays and DVDs are never going to go, or are going away, and I think they're never going to go away. I mean, never going to go away. That's my opinion. Is Blu-rays and DVDs will always still be being made, because I live in a rural area now. I used to live in an urban area, right? I lived in Los Angeles, about as urban as you get. Had no real difficulties with streaming. In fact, I could steal or poach people's internet and stream and hack and get, Wi-Fi almost anywhere, right? Very wired city. But now I live in a very rural area, and people out here resent internet companies. And not only that, let's say they're free-minded and they're not resenting anything. They're taxed for streaming. There's user taxes for streaming that make it cost prohibitive to stream. And people don't want to have Netflix out here as much, So it's not like where I am is anywhere special. Where I am is what almost 90% of the country is, or 70% of the country, some large part of the country. So I think Netflix is going to hit a growth bubble at a certain point as they start losing their content. Well, I guess I'm an optimist, I'm an eternal optimist. Always being around animals and stuff like that makes you. I don't know. I think it makes me very optimistic because animals are very optimistic. I mean, I wake up every day and they have the rhythms of life that they've known, and they're going to continue them every day. So a Blu-ray player, a DVD player is no different than an animal. It should be able to thrive and live on forever. But we'll see how it goes. I could see probably 15 years from now they'll. I don't know. I don't know how rural areas will ever. Because to your point, Samsung's big, but now some other schmagag can step up and become number one in the market, and then that guy can get out, and there's always another guy coming up. Always another guy come up. There's this new Korean company called ONN, and I've heard that they're gonna stay and now jump into the fold since Mr. Samsung has taken a departure. So it's a funny looking name, but my friend just got an ON player and an ON TV. So we'll see if ON can catch on. ONN. But yeah, this is great. Great to do a live stream here. What other horror ones have I seen recently? I guess we can discuss Serpent in the Rainbow. I've been watching that. It really just depends on a viable retail presence. Well, I live in Arkansas. Without revealing too much, I live in Arkansas, and so this is the Walmart headquarters. I'll just tell you for a fact, people constantly go look at the Walmart DVDs, even because Walmart has markets out here. I don't know if you know that. They have like a chain of Walmart grocery stores here. It's pretty surreal, but true. So on every aisle, every end cap of every aisle has DVDs for sale. And I was in one in like a more rural area of Oklahoma, and Lauren, they literally have like VHS for sale, not new like how the repackaged looking stuff is. I'm talking about they have like a secondhand market for selling VHS still. So I think people really there's some poor areas of the United States. I'm in one of the poorest for sure. I mean, the average income out here is, it's extremely low. That's why I moved out here, because I could live out here forever with the amount of money I have. But that being said, I mean, people are still, playing videos and kind of are fine with it. They're playing DVDs and they're like ideal with it. They're playing Blu-rays sparsely. And their Blu-rays are still kind of catching on because a lot of the Blu-ray players are all secondhand, and these people can afford them now. So I don't know. I think it's a weird dynamic. I think we're in 3 or 4 different Americas. We're in the semi-rural, we're in the complete rural, we're in the semi-urban, and we're in the suburban. It's like 5 Americas. I've lived in the semi-urban, the suburban, and the urban. And for those 3 parts of America, I think I agree. The semi-urban, the urban, and the suburban will not have as many DVDs and Blu-rays in the future. However, the rural and the semi-rural, I think, will always have them. Like just like you have to pry a gun from their cold dead hands, you'll have to take a DVD, Blu-ray remote player from their cold dead hands. It's just kind of the way it is. I don't know. I guess it's the lack of trust of streaming services as well. I love my physical media, but I also work in the music retail industry and watch. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I worked at it's funny you mentioned that. I worked at Tower Records back in the day, man. What a trip. Yeah, I worked at Tower Records back in the day. So yeah, witnessed the same thing. Uh, it clearly hasn't happened in the same way for Blu-rays and DVDs though. Like if it had happened like that, it would have already happened. Like they're not gonna get snuffed out like in the middle of the night how CD and record stores were. Like they literally were snuffed out. Warehouse snuffed out. Music Plus snuffed out. Blockbuster Music, which was the offshoot of Music Plus, snuffed out. Licorice Pizza snuffed out. Tower Records snuffed out. Uh, some places back east snuffed out. Only ones that ever, rebounded or stayed in business were ones that had extreme independent label ties, such as Amoeba and I guess you could say Rhino Records. I don't even know if Rhino Records is nationwide or if they're just, a semi West Coast chain or something like that. But yeah, you're gonna talk about the record business. That crumbled overnight, whereas the Blu-ray and DVD crumbling is going to occur. I'm just not sure that it's ever going to occur to the degree that people are saying. And there's part of my mind that thinks that it's actually never going to happen. Like it's never going to go fully away. That Samsung will either jump back in the market or some other fucking weirdo company is going to jump in the market and replace the vacuum that's there. Because I do think there's a vacuum of creating this product. There's some people that still have VCRs out in this fucking stick ass area that I live. Like I'm not joking around about that. So when they can pick up a Blu-ray player secondhand, they're gonna start buying fucking discs, and then one of these days, these fucking Japanese people over at Samsung are gonna be like, "Oh, why can't I have an extra fucking lunch here or there?" Well, it's because we stopped selling Blu-ray players. Look at the Blu-ray disc sales; they're kind of holding water. Like the discs are not dropping off the face of the earth. Like they're still getting bought. The players are not getting bought as much, but they're still getting bought. So I don't know. It's an interesting deal. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much. Let's switch subjects to you know. So anyway, I did a commentary for Sandra Locke. I did try to do a sudden impact commentary, but I did a commentary for one of my favorite performances by her in The Gauntlet, the Clint Eastwood film. Have you seen that one? The Gauntlet by Clint Eastwood. I started to try to rank all of Clint Eastwood's movies that he stars and that he directed himself. So he has to be in the movie, he has to have directed it, and preferably written or produced it as well. And there's so many of those that he's done that it's just kind of staggering. Because I was watching Cole and Jay, they do a show called The Movie Pocket Dimension, and they were discussing Orson Welles, and they were saying that Orson Welles is kind of peerless. And I think he is peerless in a way, but Gauntlet years ago, but I don't have any specific memories of it. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'd say, man, it's a really good movie. It's kind of not a buddy cop movie because it's basically like 48 Hours, but instead of Eddie Murphy, it's Sandra Locke. And Clint Eastwood is a little bit less down on his luck than Nick Nolte. But yeah, definitely check that one out, man. Very, very entertaining movie. The Gauntlet. So basically, he's picking up this prostitute. He's picking up a witness. Doesn't know that's who it's a man or a woman. Turns out it's a woman, and she turns out to be a prostitute. And she needs to go across state lines to go testify. But everyone in the world is betting against them. They've been setting lines for it at a horse track that you can bet against them and bet when this prostitute's going to get killed, so she won't be part of this mob trial. So literally everyone's trying to hunt them down as they're driving from Las Vegas to Arizona. Really is an awesome movie. It's serious movie, but also some good moments in it, and it really shows Sandra Locke as a fantastic actress, a real talent. Um, I don't know what all went on with her, with Clint Eastwood and her. I did get to know her. She was a very feisty woman. So I'm doing some videos in tribute to her, and I think it's ridiculous how the media tries to say, "Oh, this woman, that woman, doesn't get represented." She was a woman that really did quite a good job in the film industry, regardless of how she got there or whatever. With the chance she was given, her performances stand the test of time, and I think that she should have been nominated for Sudden Impact, and if not, maybe given some Golden Globe attention at the very least for one of those two films. She directed Impulse, starring Teresa Russell. I'm a huge fan of that movie. I don't think it's on DVD or Blu-ray. I don't know for sure though. Never seen it yet in several years of collecting. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And Sandra Locke. Clearly, you guys, you weren't on the show the other day, but they were doing the Child's Play movies. And I think that there's kind of a Child's Play prequel that no one ever really references or talks about, and it's called Fatal Beauty. It co-stars Brad Dourif and is directed by Tom Holland, and it's pretty cool because Brad Dourif plays a murderous maniac killer, drug dealer in Fatal Beauty, and it's not that dissimilar to the Charles Lee Ray character in Child's Play 1. And both movies being directed by Tom Holland, there really are a lot of cool elements of Fatal Beauty. There's a very memorable scene where that song Red Hot by Debbie Gibson is playing, and Sam Elliott and Whoopi Goldberg walk in to find something surprising, in a suburban house. There's all sorts of stuff. There's an interracial romance between Sam Elliott and Whoopi Goldberg. And, that's just incredible. So let me just take my dog out real quick. Gauntlet years ago, but yeah, okay, cool. Let me plug this out real quick. Take my dog out real quick. Yeah. Back up, dude. Back up. Yeah, I have a pretty big dog. She can get in the way. You big get in the way? You get in the way, huh? How'd you get in the way so much? Dude, stop doing that, huh? Want to go on a walk? Big sissy, huh? So, Friday the 13th, I was on the road for work, so couldn't make it. Okay, well, I'm a huge fan of the Child's Play movies. The Fatal Beauty movie is an interesting kind of prequel, I think, kind of to them. And just gonna walk around real quick. Just a second. I really like Child's Play 2. And I can't find my DVD for it right now. It's just one of the problems I have organizing my DVDs. Organizing my dog. Okay, dog, back up. Here we go. Just pouring rain out here. Hurry up. Yeah, it's pouring rain out here. There we are. All right. All right. You should hurry up so we can go back inside the house. It's cold out here. Well, that's cool. Glad everything's fine, though. I'm interested to see B Me Movie Mike come back to the show. Um, I really agree with you. Okay, so now that you're on the line, dude, I really agree with you and I guess B Movie Mike. I gotta remember the episode um, about Halloween 2018. It was an abomination. Really not a good movie. Really not a good movie at all. A movie that left a bad taste in my mouth. A movie that I ended up walking out of and then having to go back and, you know, I really didn't care to see the ending, to be honest. I have seen it, but what a bad movie, huh? Really, really bad. I mean, shockingly bad. To redact the entire series of movies that I like and that I love, to have it be that, I mean, geez, what? Why? You know, what? Why did they do that? They basically take away from Jason or from Michael Myers so much in that movie that he's just a spree killer. He's just some dude that killed 7 people one night 40 years ago and then has been locked up like a bitch. You know? I mean, I literally changes the whole dynamic of the movie series. I don't know if everyone agrees with me about that, but you know, that's it's kind of sacrilege to do something like that where um, you know, people perceive the movie series a certain way and then all of a sudden it's just a different way. You know, that the dude hadn't been dude, go lie down. Go lie down. The dude hadn't been you know, on the run all these years, that he was locked up all these years. And I know I'm making a big deal about that, but Halloween on. Yeah, I have very deep issues with it too, Lauren. I won't ever watch it again. I mean, we can discuss it. We don't have to discuss it here, really, even. But it's really bad, bro. Like, really, really bad. And we're here. I'll discuss what my opinions are. That I think that she's underrated performance in Halloween H2O. And I think all that drama between her and Judy Greer, the lady from Marmaduke, is ridiculous. Um, you know, just fake drama that's done better with the gentleman Josh Hartnett and you know, Adam Arkin being in the movie. I think it's done way better. And what's it called? This is just a rehash, and it just gets me frustrated. Gets me very frustrated. So I guess we could just drop it. Um, without any spoilers or anything, did you rush out to the theater this weekend to see Us? Have you tell me some of the movies? What have you been up to, man? Have you seen any good movies out there? This year I've seen The Prodigy, and I walked out of that. That was a horror movie without the horror. And I saw Escape Room, and I didn't like that. I wasn't like that negative on it, but I didn't like it. H2O is definitely a film of its time, but I like, oh yeah, I like it a whole lot more than Halloween 18. Halloween 18 needs to be banished. Let's banish it. I got a Q&A question the other day, and my Q&A question the other day was really cool. It was what changes or what would I like to see for a next Halloween movie? I would say basically redact everything from 2018, make it that some of the sequels happened, that some of them didn't, and then make it that, you know, the Halloween 3 mythos is part of the thing, and that for whatever reason Michael Myers starts stalking and killing people at the Silver Shamrock factory, so it can jump from Haydenfield over to the Silver Shamrock factory. I saw Escape Room. He says Lauren, and Lauren says, "What did he say about Escape Room?" I gotta read it. I saw Escape Room. It's okay. Nothing more into. I really like it. An Irish horror film. So cool. Or Indian horror film called Unmata. I really like it. Those people real. Oh, cool, man. I want to see Unmata. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Um, that sounds awesome. What about the Neil Jordan movie Greta? Neil Jordan movie had Neil Jordan come out called Greta with Chloe Moritz and Isabelle Huppert. I'm a huge, obviously I'm very attracted to Isabelle Huppert all these years, so I didn't know if it was good or not. And obviously, like Neil Jordan's movies quite a lot, but had the opportunity to watch it and didn't see it. Which goes for most people in the world because it was an absolute financial flop. What's going on with some of these financial flops lately? Greta and Captive State. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. That way I can check out Unmata. I recommend it to my mom as well. I don't know if it's appropriate, but see if she likes it. Here's no comments. I don't know if Livestream has comments or not. Yeah, so I'll go back on this and check it later. But obviously, Pet Cemetery comes out in 2 weeks. Us set some records, but out here it didn't do too well. I don't know what that's about, but I'm probably gonna see that tomorrow night or Tuesday night, one of the two. And I mean, it's a really interesting year for horror because I have a feeling, due to some of the stuff that I mentioned regarding Doctor Sleep, is that they're probably going to cut the fuck out of it and either make it PG-13 or soft R. But you should really go hard R if you're going to go any R at all. So I might see us this week depending on scheduling. Cool, man. Well, I think there's a way that if I call you on like FaceTime or something like that, and then I start doing a live stream, that could work. Where then we could do a video sometime because I'm wanting to do a really cool, not like necessarily like Sausage Factory, but maybe like a quick back and forth where I do discuss underrated sequels of horror movies. Or not necessarily underrated, but actually ones that we think are better than the original. So that brings into all sorts of fun discussions, actually, because I mean, clearly Halloween 1 is I guess, a better made movie than some of the later, or than 4 or 5. But I'm a huge fan of 4 and 5, and I like 4 and 5 better than Part 1. Same to be for the Rob Zombie movie. I haven't seen Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 because I'm just not ready for it yet. But I am one of the only people that I know that likes Rob Zombie's Halloween. That's part of the Sausage Factory community. I know people in real life that really like it. I don't know if those people are really fans of the series, but I'm such a huge fan of the series. And I really love Rob Zombie's Halloween, and it's not necessarily a sequel. Well, my favorite film of all time is a sequel. Sorry. Well, my favorite film of all time is a sequel. I know I'm on my own with the zombie movies for sure. You know what? Lauren, I refused to watch them for many years. I had this uh, Halloween set, and I just wouldn't watch it. Wouldn't watch them. I put in Rob Zombie's Halloween several weeks back, and I just can't believe how much I enjoyed it. I just don't even know. Sometimes you just, yeah, I mean, pretty, pretty amazing thing to admit, but so that would be something where we would disagree on that. But the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels. I mean, I love Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I saw that in theaters. Uh, I think it's really cool that you saw what you saw in theaters there. You saw Rolling Thunder and Sorcerer. So since you've seen Rolling Thunder back in the day there, did you see, God, uh, did it freak you out when you saw Rolling Thunder? Were you scared? Because, I mean, not scared, but like the scene where, all the negative things happened to William Devane and his family, depending on what age you were, I would think would freak a young lad out quite a much because the movie is quite alarming, to say the least. And I really like a lot of horror sequels. I mean, I've never really seen Omen 3 all the way through, but the parts of it that I've seen, I really enjoy. I love Sam Neill. Um, oh, as far as John Carpenter, my good sir, I'm a huge fan of Memoirs of an Invisible Man. So I've been posting, or I will be posting, some different information that I'm friends with Stephen Tobolowsky, and that's always really cool to get information about the making of the movies that he was involved in. Oh, five favorite films: Natural Born Killers, Hellfest. Man, I have a Hellfest poster, man, but obviously wasn't able to see it in the theater. So cool. I actually could have seen it, but then it was leaving that day. I don't know. Natural Born Killers. Oh man, I have a very good DVD of that I enjoy. Um, and what do you think that would have been like if Tarantino made it? I was talking about it with the younger generation. They don't know much about movies and stuff because someone was saying that they've seen every Tarantino movie. I said, okay, have you seen the ones that he's written? And he's like, oh, you mean the ones that he written and directed? Yeah. I'm like, no, the ones that he wrote, like True Romance and, you know, etc. Natural Born Killers, there's other ones that didn't get made. And Natural Born Killers, man, it's a very interesting movie. I'm gonna maybe check both those out again because I have them here, of course. And I love learning more about the True Romance making of it. I used to go to the theater where they filmed it at, and I never knew that was that theater. You have the Tarantino script. It's not the same at all as what Stone created. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, he's probably taken elements of that script and then put it into other films, and if not, he still has something to say that hasn't been said. But I wonder if he talks to Mr. Stone anymore, or if they're cordial. I wonder if they're cordial. Can you imagine being a writer and all of a sudden like having a disputes with Oliver Stone? Pretty interesting. Uh, I'm talking about some very talented writers right there. Oliver Stone and Tarantino. I mean, uh, someone else wrote the Wall Street screenplay, but he had a lot to do with the making of that movie. Clearly, his writing ability is all over his different movies. Oliver Stone movies have a certain timbre or pulse to them, it seems. Have you seen Savages, the film that Oliver Stone made around like 2007? It just goes to show you how far his career had fallen by that point because Savages has some elements of natural born killers or I guess violence of that kind, but yet it's went over very poorly, and no one ever discusses Savages. So just was wondering if you've ever seen that one. Yeah, I'm thinking I might watch Return to Oz tonight. Let me just get something real quick. Yeah, a very strange movie, Natural Born Killers. Uh, Go lay down. Go lay down. All right. I'm back again. Yeah. Um, it also reminded me of U-Turn. Yeah, definitely reminded me of U-Turn for sure. Um, so what else was I going to tell you? I'm writing a screenplay. A couple. It's really cheap to make movies out here. So, one's called The Projectionist, or I don't know. It could be called anything. It's basically about projectionist in the mid 2000s who gets fired from being a projector as everything starts going more digital. So he, it's a crazy old dude anyway. So starts killing people at the movie theater. You know, so that sounds like something I can be making pretty soon. We've already done some they got test footage for it. They got this other one I'm making at a drive-in because could probably film at the drive-in a couple nights before they even catch on. Some of the things I've done in the past, where I take a lot of the money I've made from these TV shows and stuff and invest them into making my own movies. I don't really want to do that anymore because I've ended up having to pay and overpay for various locations and things like that. So that's not really what I want to do. You get 20% of the money back here in Arkansas for all the money you spend on movies, but don't really want to do that. Just overpay just to get 20% back. So I'm trying to make these movies for free, for the most part. Pay for whatever I need to, but expenses for locations and stuff like that. Uh, I know the people that run the theater I can use for the projectionist and a couple other different projects that I'm working on out here. There's a screenplay I had Sean Young attached to that even John Carl Buechler had read. So rest in peace to him. It's an honor to get to know him. Been kind of dealing with that this whole week. I've been trying to put the Cab Crystal Lake Festival together before stuff like that happens, and God forbid any more people in the franchise die. But it's sad to know that the director of Part 5 and Part 7 have passed. Totally sad. Be right back. So Mr. Schwartzman has passed away, of course. And Mr. John Carl Buechler has passed away, of course. So, I'm a huge fan of Part 8 and Part 5. What, if you had to say, Lauren, what would you rank or how would you go for the series? I guess 1 through X. Ranking 1 through X. How would you rank them? I don't really consider Jason vs. Freddy to be part of the series, which I know some people do and some people don't. And I don't consider the remake to be part of it all, but I do rank it sometimes. But just for the sake of this, I was thinking 1 through 6. Uh-oh. Okay, what's going on? One through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm a huge fan of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm a huge fan of 3. Been to most of the locations from Part 3. Are you in an area of the country where there's a lot of horror movies getting made? Or have you been to any famous movie locations? I've been to the liquor store from Part 3. That's quite fun. I was just curious. Yeah, all right. What's new out there tonight? Oh, also, yeah, the Indian movie. I'll have to check out the preview for that. And a couple other movies too. I'm a huge fan of Halloween 3. Really would like to see some of that incorporated into the rest of the series. Oh, let's do one of our Q&A questions from at large. And this was sent to me from a fellow that watches our shows from Algeria. Okay. Oh, this is he's getting his list. Okay, 1 is his favorite. Somehow I just blocked your messages. Oh my god, how did I do that? For okay. Well, let me see if I can read your message. Ugh, jeez. 1 for X 2. I'm not offended. I'm just surprised. 1 4. Why did I delete your messages? That sucks. Okay, try another message and see if it's deleted, but let me look here. 5 is his least favorite. 8 is his second least favorite. 7, I can see 7 being low down there. 1 4 X2. What is that one? 09 6 3. What did I say? 639 versus Freddy 785. 1 4 X2. I didn't know this kind of list was possible. Wow. 1 4 X2. 09. Just like having to read it again to make sure. 6 3. Okay, so let's go through this. 1 4 X. So he goes 1 and then 4 and then X. Okay. And what is it again? 1 4 X. I hope I didn't block my chat. I hope I didn't block you from chat or something. I have a feeling it might have blocked. If you're blocked, I'm really sorry, dude. I don't know how to unblock people. Let me see. I didn't mean to block people. I was just pressing to see your message and it blocked. All right, I'm back. Okay, your messages are still deleted. That sucks. Well, thanks for watching the channel, man. I don't know why I can't see your messages now, but you sent that one. It's 14x2. That makes sense. 2 there. 0965 versus Freddy 78. Okay. I'm sorry, man. I don't know how. Okay. I don't think you're blocked from sending messages. I just think that some of them are. Okay, we'll try it again. Anyway, sorry about all that. I was reading your list. It's very interesting. So X is your third favorite. That's amazing. I could see one being your favorite. In some ways, one is my favorite. In some ways, it's not. The first one I saw was 6. What was the first one that you saw? And how many did you see in theaters, by the way? Hopefully this will work. How many of them did you see in theaters? Well, I think something happened where I can't see messages now. If you can hear me still, I'm sorry, man. I think I might have hit a button where I can't see messages now, but I gotta figure out how to do that better, man. Let me see what happened. I might have to stop the stream because I don't see your messages now. Let's see. Oh, you can. Okay, good, good, good. I can see your messages now. Okay, good. I've only seen 4 onward to there. Wow, that's so cool. I've seen at a screening of Friday the 13th one, I saw it at an old movie palace. But I obviously wasn't alive when it came out. And I've never seen any of them except 2009's in the theater, so that's pretty cool. Oh, can you tell me about what is the best format to watch Hellfest on, Blu-ray or DVD? And if there are any good features? I'm probably gonna buy it this week, so maybe even tomorrow. I'm gonna probably buy that and a couple other movies. I'll make a video about them. I could put my list out there, but it changes here or there. But I guess I just have like brackets or tiers. Like I put 1, 4, 5, 6, and 8 in one tier. But no, I can't even rank them actually. It just makes me uncomfortable because when I love part 3, you know? So to say that that's in the second tier of Friday the 13th movies, it's difficult. The UHD. Okay, there is a featurette at least. That's good. I'd love to see modern special features. I like when there's a lot more. I'm really into special features and commentaries. Cool. I look forward to seeing that. I saw the possession of Hannah Grace as well. That was fun because the chicken, that's pretty hot. Of CBS films. No commentaries, but stay tuned. Okay, cool. I did a commentary for a bunch of movies so far. I posted them on the channel. I'm probably gonna redo the Fugitive one and a couple other horror ones too. So as you see the Children of the Corn movies, I'll put some of those commentaries on there because I've learned quite a lot about the making of those movies. Uh, yeah, the Sausage Factory is fun though. Yeah, I'm friends with Cameron, or I've been on a bunch of videos for Cameron in the past. I own a ton of the original Health as props. Wow, that's really cool, man. I'm wondering. I don't know much about the making of it or anything, so I look forward to knowing a little bit more. Uh, I was friends with Larry Drake, so just talking about film props, I got a couple things from Dr. Giggles and some other. He had the cigar cutter from Darkman. I have like a backup cigar cutter that they used. Speaking of movie props, Larry Drake was an awesome dude. One of my favorite people. I was a huge fan of his watching L.A. Law, as a kid, and then when he was in Darkman, etc. But obviously, all of his other work in horror and stuff like that, and TV movies, just a real legend. He actually grew up not too far from this area. Real soul of the earth guy. Really was into gardening. Nice person. Man, glad to see orcs in better health, better spirits these days. I had someone trolling my channel the other day. That was kind of funny. I also own. Oh, that's so cool. That's really cool, actually, dude. See that again. I also own a piece of the Friday franchise. The Wow, that's really cool. You know what's so interesting about Jason X is that David Cronenberg's in it. Like, how weird is that? Never really heard anyone discuss that. I just thought that was kind of funny. Good casting. Didn't know he wanted to act, but yeah, quick little role. I'd like to see a new Friday the 13th movie. Oh, his longtime AD. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm sure I have the DVD for it, and that rings a bell. Definitely rings a bell. Um, Good opportunity for him, but too bad that I don't know. I know you like that movie that much. It has a weird look to it to me, like almost like a sci-fi '90s movie. Like a sci-fi channel movie. Like it's a unfinished quality on some of the scenes, the backdrops, etc. But I do really like it. There's not one Friday the 13th movie I don't like. So I don't know. I have really I'm not negative on any Halloween movie that's been made except the 2018 one. And for the Friday the 13th movies, I'm not negative about any of them except Jason vs. Freddy. That's kind of weird, you know? I've heard, a lot of people rail against some of the later sequels of Halloween and stuff like that. I'm not like that. I mean, granted, I saw Halloween 6 in theaters, and so it may bias me a little bit, but I much enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. Saw it for free. I'd always see movies for free. I never paid for movies growing up. A New Beginning I abhor because it's porn or something like that. It's what did he say? Oh yeah, many issues with Jason Takes Manhattan if you break it down, but kills wise, I just love the kills. Incredible kills, in my opinion, in Jason Takes Manhattan. Just from surreal, like getting your head punched off, to more practical kills, like bashing JJ's head in with a guitar. I love her hair in that movie. You, of course, being alive during the '80s, the crimped hair culture. Want a couple licks of this, Bubba? So yeah, I really like some of the practical kills in that movie. Just takes Kelly Hu and strangles her. You know, always one of my favorite parts. Well, let's do this. What are some of your favorite kills of the series? What are some of your favorite kills? What are some of your favorite kills of the series? Like, if you had to say what your favorite kills would be, what are they? Some of my favorite kills of the series, I think I just named. The JJ killing was great. Killing at the beginning of part 8 when they're on the boat, about to be intimate with each other, and then the lady's killed with the harpoon. Much enjoy that part as well. Uh, Other great kills in the series, of course, the sleeping bag kill, um, throwing the chap down the stairs, slicing the gentleman in half. Uh, the Crispin Glover kill, many others. Yeah, so I really much do like the series of movies. Well, I'm shutting my computer down for the night. All right. See what my friend Lauren has to say here. All messages are visible. Oh, right. Oh, here we go. Halloween. I love the original and 1 and 2 and 3. Guilty pleasure 6 is 6. A lot more than I like. I do respect. Cool, man. Well, I'm a huge fan of H2O. I'm actually a really big fan of Halloween Resurrection. As crazy as that may sound, but I've been to the location from Halloween H2O and it's awesome. It's like uh it's a hotel now. But I became friends with the lady that runs it and everything like that. So been getting some good access there. Marcy's definitely the original. Axel and Final Chapter, of course. Shit. You named some great ones. Spear Death and Jason Goes to Hell, the Head Freeze Smash. Yeah, of course. Yeah, those are great. Those are great. And it's just amazing how many awesome kills there have been. So many to choose from. If we were making March Madness brackets or ranking all the best villains, clearly it would be these 4 guys would be up there: Leatherface, Jason, Michael Myers, and Freddy. But then you got all sorts of other guys in the lower seeds. Candyman, um, Chucky, Pinhead, all vying for the title. Who's going to come next on the list there? So let me beckon my dog in here. Hold on. Well, I'm planning to do a Monday night chat or some kind of Monday chat of some kind, a live chat or live stream. So that would be awesome if you know, I can figure out how to do this hangout thing where, you could talk on there at the same time. Um, I really marvel at the technology of Piz and everyone that knows how to do all this stuff. I'm still kind of just learning. I didn't even know that there was a YouTube app until recently. So it's a tough journey, I guess. But I like Christine quite a lot. I kind of want to do some more John Carpenter discussion on the channel. I mean, I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of Village of the Damned and Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Like way more than most John Carpenter fans. I'm a huge fan of those two movies, Village of the Damned, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. I believe both of those commentaries are up on my channel. If not, I'll redo them and repost them. But we have a new person joining us. We have not only Lauren of the Visited by Voices One channel and the Sausage Factory panelists, but we now have another guest as well here in the chat. And we're having a very big discussion, me and Lauren, about various horror movies and franchises. Other person on the live stream, feel free to identify yourself and your comments. That would be great. Or, you can join in the stream chat, whatever it's called. And if I don't see your comments, then... Oh, do I think Tupac is fighting for Serbia right now? Do I think that Tupac is fighting for Serbia right now? Well, that is an interesting question. No. Nikola Jolik. Oh, yes, I think we were speaking in the past, right? You have to jog my memory. Probably drop Freddy. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm just talking about yeah. If that's your personal list, I understand that, Lauren. I was just saying like on a you know, if someone was just ranking all the horror movies or horror villains, that Freddy would probably be up there. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone's personal list, I would totally put your Hellfest guy up there. And if I was making a personal list, some guy that I would put up higher, yeah, one of my Children of the Corn people probably. So Marshall, we have Lauren. We're being visited by Marshall Zhukov. I don't really know who that is, but I think we were speaking maybe the other day. I don't know. Nikolia Jolich. I'm Nikolia Jolich. Okay. Maybe this is some movie character or some reference. I'm not too clear on. I don't know. Saw a pretty boring horror movie the other day. The Funeral Home. I'd just say it's just a plotting horror movie. I don't really know how else to say it. Very plotting. So I wasn't a huge fan, but glad to be able to find it on YouTube. And there are quite a lot of good YouTube horror movies out there. One that made me thinking about making the drive-in. So making a drive-in horror movie was called Drive-In Massacre, I believe. And that I found on YouTube, including Witchblade. I mean, Witchblade changed my life. And didn't really watch too much horror growing up, so watched Witchblade one day on YouTube and literally changed my life. One of my favorite movies. Haven't watched it in a couple years, so hopefully I can find a good DVD or Blu-ray. Big fan of the Tenney brothers. I used to have Drive-In Massacre on Laserdisc. That's so cool. That's really, really cool. Yeah, there's something about trying to film in a drive-in that I think is going to be really fun. I mean, obviously, I spent a lot of money on different film productions I've worked on in the past. And I mean, if the drive-in asked me for any cash, I'd be shocked because they won't even know that we're filming there. I'm trying to make the lowest budget, you know, laughably bad horror movie. I don't care how it turns out, as long as it turns out. So going to a drive-in and literally having two cars pull into the drive-in and having a strange old dude walking around bothering people and trying to kill people. Like, can't get more basic than that. So hopefully we can film it all in a night. And I don't even think it will turn out too well. I just want to actually complete it. Then I can move on to something else. Just kind of a basic area to film. You know, most people won't shut us down, especially if we're not carrying huge equipment. So we'll check in on that. But yeah, the drive-in massacre, awesome. Just totally like that scene a lot. I like the eight-legged freaks scene at the drive-in. Like any scene at a drive-in. I mean, the Outsiders filmed at a drive-in not too far from here. When I go down to Tulsa, I'll go ahead and bring my camera and film around there. Show some of the Outsiders filming locations, and also UHF was filmed there as well. So that will be a blast. That'll be a blast indeed. It's clearly dark in this room. I think I might watch Return to Oz, or I might put some other DVD on. Lost a little bit of momentum with my Friday the 13th marathon, so I think I'll put that on hold. And get ready to enjoy the evening. I really need to organize my DVDs. I know I keep saying it, but I really do. Alright, just looking for what the DVD is when I put it on. Indeed, will be Return to Oz. And I will be doing a commentary for Mr. Majestic this week as well. I think I'll look forward to that. I'm very proud to have Return to Oz. Disney, takes ownership of it. My last conversation I had with Paul Moslansky, he said, have a nice life, or it makes me think that he's not doing too well. So we'll keep him in our prayers and we'll enjoy some of his life's work. All right. Everyone out there seen Return to Oz before? You all enjoy it? Well, I think we'll shut it down for the night. Lauren? Hey, you too, Lauren. You have a great night. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. I'll try to look and do another thing on here. And if you're on Twitter, write to me on Twitter. I'll email you.